All right. Welcome. This is 200X Academy. Today's crypto show. Want to welcome you. We're super excited. We're testing different platforms at different times on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So we're super excited. Got a great content today. Just so you know, a lot of people are asking, well, what do you guys do here at 200X Academy? We specialize in taking people from beginner to confidence within 3 days. To demystify the crypto space, we typically target entrepreneurs and professionals, and they want to just make it simple. And so that's what we do. I am one of 3 other teachers here we have at 200X Academy. And so we're super passionate, excited, because cryptocurrency is the wave of the future. That's a fact. The only question is it going to be decentralized finance or centralized finance? In simple terms, centralized finance are the people's money. No one controls it. The governments can't manipulate the currency. They can't control it. They can't hyperinflate debt away or your value of the money. But centralized finance can certainly do that. And we're seeing that right now with hyperinflation or inflation. They're curbing it as we speak, which is good, I guess, in temporarily. But you're going to see some of the content that I have today. You're going to see how this battle, the bank's centralized finance is traditionally character assassinated cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin, calling it a scam. But once they found out they couldn't control it, now it's like, whoa, they put their tail between the legs. Now they're infiltrating the space, and now there's a war. Centralized finance, think Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all these other cryptocurrencies. But then the banks are now having their own cryptocurrency, and it's called CBDC, Central Bank Digital Currencies, all on the blockchain. And so you're going to hear some stories today about this real world battle that's playing out right before our eyes. And you and I got box seats to this show and dance that we're experiencing as we speak. Before I begin in today's topic, a lot of people were asking in yesterday's live session, how did I get into crypto? When did I do it? And the first time I got into crypto, or first like, whoa, we need to take this technology serious, was 2013. As you know, Bitcoin came out maybe in 2008, 2009. I personally never got into it until I saw the red flags. And the red flags was this. In 2013, in a little island called Cyprus, it's right by Greece, there was a bank run on Greece and the citizens. And you and everyone here in the United States, when there was a bank run, the government bailed out the banks, right? So it's the government that bails out the banks. But in Cyprus, they asked the citizens to bail out the banks. And so if you had $20,000 in the bank, you got a 20% haircut, and now you only have $16,000 to give you as a comparison. So you can imagine the outroar of the citizens. And so they stopped and closed the banks. They couldn't get access to their money. However, which is interesting, the very next day, now get this, in 2013, they roll out Bitcoin ATMs on an island of Cyprus, middle of nowhere. Who does that? I'll tell you who does that. Who does that is higher level oligarchs that are planning this. Because, there was no Bitcoin ATMs back then. Who's making them? Why? And they conveniently are on a little known island called Cyprus. There's a lot of strategic planning and money that's going into this. So when I saw that, we need to start paying attention, because Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, there's something behind here. And that's from that point on, that's when I started getting into crypto. We need to start taking it serious. I was in Vegas, I think maybe a year later in 2014, and I see Bitcoin ATMs right on the marquee in the downtown area there. So I knew this wasn't going away. So that's why I'm so passionate, because it's put me on a journey where now we take people from beginner to confidence within 3 days. And if you don't see the link, it should be a link somewhere. If you want to attend a live event every single month at 200xacademy.com, we have live events, again, to take people from beginner to confidence. We got other teachers that are specialized in staking and charting and NFTs, metaverse also. So we're super excited to bring out this year. But some of the recap from yesterday. Some of you that are watching this live, and by the way, if you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer it live. So just go ahead in the chat. If I see it on my end, I will try to do my best to answer your question for you. But to recap yesterday, we talked about Ethereum's merge and how Ethereum's merge is a game changer. They're going from proof of work to proof of stake. In simple terms, what that means, the developers in Ethereum, by the way, are saying that merge will happen in 3 weeks from now, right around September 16th and 17th. So when that happens, when they go from proof of work to proof of stake, Ethereum's network will use 99.98% less energy. The reason why this is so important, it could be a potential game changer. And I think within 1 year, Ethereum will flip. Bitcoin is the #1 cryptocurrency in the world. You can quote me on it. You can make me accountable on that within 1 year. And the reason is very simple. This whole green energy, energy efficiency, these global oligarchs are very serious about that. They want everything green, saving energy, saving energy. So Ethereum, Charles Hopkins, he's pivoted, making sure to put Ethereum in position to be energy efficiency. It's not just affecting Ethereum, but all the other coins of all the other coins on the network. So there's over 300 coins that are on Ethereum's network. So if Ethereum gets green, a rising tide raises all boats. And so what do you think that means in the marketplace? When the #2 cryptocurrency becomes energy efficient and Bitcoin is not, once the market gets this news and it affects all these other cryptocurrencies, what do you think the investors are going to do? What do you think the market's going to do? This is not a financial advice. My attitude is I report, you decide. And this is what I'm doing. But it has the potential to be a game changer where Ethereum is going to have a lot more investment in capital investment firms once they start figuring this stuff out and how energy efficient it's going to be. So the merge is coming up within 3 weeks. Check it out. Look into it. Some potential. Imagine if the market cap of Ethereum flips Bitcoin. What do you think it's going to do to that Ethereum's price? And I think there's a 1 to 20, 20 to 1 ratio of where Bitcoin is now versus Ethereum. What do you think that's going to do to the market cap? What do you think it's going to do to the price? Interesting. Some of the other things we learned yesterday is the global currency reset that all the politicians are talking about. Showed you the video evidence, not a conspiracy, and it's part of a larger plan that's been long in standing. And I showed you that video evidence yesterday. But as far as today, I got a couple some news that might interest you. Shiba Inu and Cardano, as of a couple hours ago, now accepted at more than 90 MasterCard merchants around the world. What you're starting to see is centralized finance and all these other stories where you can take your cryptocurrency and use your credit card to pay off bills and buy groceries. That's competing for money. It's decentralized finance competing against centralized finance. So decentralized, no one controls it. It's the people's money, and that scares the banks and centralized finance. So when you start hearing these stories, think about this fight that's going on right before our eyes. And so if and when this continues to get momentum, you're going to see the world of centralized finance get really, really angry, and they got to take it serious now. And they're going to start doubling down, which leads to my next story, which you'll hear in a second. But let me just kind of break that down a little bit. If you don't mind, I'll just read here because I just want to make sure I get it right. Holders of Shiba Inu, Cardano, and other cryptocurrencies supported by Binance Card can now use their assets to make their purchases and pay bills at over 90 million MasterCard merchants worldwide, both in store and online. As was made known by MasterCard CEO Michael Miebach, again, this is just a story that just broke a couple hours ago. The Binance Card pilot has kicked off in Argentina, was previously introduced part of a partnership between Binance and MasterCard to bridge the gap between cryptocurrencies and regular purchases. Cryptocurrencies as payment methods are gaining increased traction. As reported by you today, Shiba Inu holders of other cryptocurrencies supported by BitPay can now spend their assets to purchase electronics, computers, appliances, cell phone, you get the idea. So decentralized finance is gaining momentum and steam. Here's what's other interesting. Again, you just I'm bringing this stuff because so you can start to see it more in a simple way. When you start seeing stories like this, banks, governments are going to start doubling down. And here's what happened just a couple days ago. I'm going to read you this story. Biden is hiring 87,000 new IRS agents, and they're coming for you. It goes into the Inflation Reduction Act that just happened a couple days ago, signed by President Biden, empowers the IRS with nearly $80 billion in new funds to make people accountable in crypto. So as far as taxes. So what do you think they're doing? They're making it, they're okay, you want to go here? MasterCard, you want to go here, Shiba Inu, you want to try to be the main, take our cartel of our influence of centralized finance away from us. We're not going down without a fight. Matter of fact, we're going to put a bill in place to have 87,000 new IRS agents to go after people. And in fact, kind of the story breaks down a little bit even further. The administration has suggested the IRS would perform no new audits for anyone making less than $400,000 annually. Republicans, in short, I'm not big on Republican, Democrat. I'm more of a political atheist. To me, it's kind of like parents. Are they healthy parents? Are they not? Who's following that? That's my attitude. If you're one of those highly identified in either one, that's fine. It's up to you. I'm out personally, but what's happening is but they improved in the bill that they can go after people making less than 400,000, which is the mainstream America. So you can see they're going to make it difficult. You better be paying your taxes, by the way, in crypto. I've always said that anyway. Just be above board, do the right thing. But what's happening is there's a war going on, and I hope that you see it. I got some other information here. In yesterday's talk, we talked about, and again, if you have any questions, go ahead and share it here. We do have someone had a question here. I'll just answer it real quick. And if anybody else has any questions, please put it in the chat. I'll get notified here on what platform is sharing that question, and I'll do my best to answer it. Someone said, please explain proof of work and proof of stake. Proof of work is, it says proof of stack. I think you meant proof of stake, but proof of work is just basically proving your work. It's less, there's less involved in proving your work. Some people can lie. It's not really a full guarantee that you're actually having a real project going on. Proof of stake is that people are actually staking their coins. That's why you can make money in staking, by the way. So that's why they park their crypto on a platform so that once people in the governing body see that, they're going to say, oh, you're valid, you're respected more. This is a legitimate project. And so the more coins that are staked, people see that, and you get the consensus network validates that, and it's better for the coin and the project when you proof of stake. So that's pretty much in simple terms what it is. Okay, we got some other questions coming in, but let me get to some of the other things. What we also learned yesterday, and it's going to transition to kind of go in a little bit deeper of what happened, what we talked about yesterday. But we see that there's 6 countries in the world that had the world reserve currency. We have it now. It went through the Netherlands, Spain, France, Great Britain, Portugal, United States. We have it now. But on average, the country that has the world's reserve currency has 90 to 110 years. So we've had it for 107. So it's pretty predictable that us as the United States are not going to have the world's reserve currency much longer. It's predictable. It's going to happen. So what do you think is going to happen when we're not the biggest king in town? What are you going to think is happening in the dollar? What's been going on in the last 6 months? Inflation. It's real. And a side note, you need to know this, because sometimes Americans in the U.S. dollar, we think, well, nothing's going to happen to our currency. But there's 45 documented cases of hyperinflation that meets the standard of hyperinflation. And so we can't be arrogant to think that our dollar, the value of our purchasing power, our 401ks, pensions, retirement, we can't be that arrogant to think that our purchasing power will lose value through inflation and hyperinflation. Do you think the bread or the cheese at the grocery store, do you think it's worth now $7 a pound? Or is the dollar becoming worth less? Right? It purchases less with that money. It's glorified. Instead of taxation, they do it through inflation. It's a very clever technique that they use. And so we need eyes wide awake. When I teach people about crypto, I don't just see them. I not only see you, I see your children, your unborn children, and the legacy you're going to leave behind. That's why I'm so passionate, because this is a privileged position that you can impact people's lives. And so my number one mission statement is impact. My dad, before he passed away, him and I used to talk, a lot of deep conversations. He goes, son, we're all going to leave a legacy on this earth. The only question is what type. And so, and it gets part of the our family's history, and but I won't bore you to death with that. But it's powerful when you know that this information is powerful. It can change people's lives, and we want to be on the right side of history when this happens. The dollar and the world reserve currency will be coming down. So what happens to Americans and a lot of people, not just Americans, but around the world? This is going to affect local currencies around the world. What do you think is going to happen? Our value of our purchasing power is being, or our 401ks, pensions, retirement, savings, all that hard work now is down to nothing. And I'm going to show you here in a little bit. There's some things that you need to be aware of that should concern you. I'll just put it nicely. And I just always want to be one step ahead, at least try. There's no regrets. I don't want to regret how I handle finances, what I teach you, because I actually care. And I know this is not financial advice, but I know some people may take what I'm doing personally and they may want to do it themselves. But as far as risk management, I told my dad, this is before he passed away, and he did very well for himself. Self-made person, never went to college. But he says, I'm diversified. I said, Dad, you're not diversified. You're all in. Yeah, you might have 401ks, pensions, and you're diversified within that umbrella of assets, but you're not diversified outside of the US dollar. You're all in on the US dollar. What about physical gold and silver, cryptocurrencies, even artwork or something that to diversify? Because the dollar tanks, what's going to preserve your purchasing power? As this asset goes down, all these other ones goes up, and preserves your wealth. So that's why. And then so at the end of his life, he did open up to thinking a little bit differently on that. And so should we. We need to diversify truly outside of the dollar. And that's why cryptocurrency is right smack dab in the middle of diversification outside of other assets that we can talk about later. But let me get into some of the further content that we have here and share my screen. I'm going to show you some quotes in some of the presidents in the last 100 years. It's not a conspiracy. It's out of their own mouth. Again, I report, you decide. But back in 1913, when the Federal Reserve came to be under President Woodrow Wilson, before that, the history of our country, we used to buy and sell through gold and silver. It's part of our charter documents agreements that currency or money should always be gold and silver. And if someone tries to mess with that, it's in our founding documents. Because I'm a researcher. To research one university at Arizona State, I'm drilled in research to be objective. But and I bring a lot of good content and value for you. But all transactions were done in gold and silver prior to 1913 in the history of the United States. But in 1913, when the Federal Reserve came to be, they said, don't worry, we're going to issue these paper certificates with a gold seal on it. Don't worry, we're not violating any terms, because you can, of our founding fathers, our history of the United States in our founding documents. A lot of people don't know that, by the way. Let them be hanged. It was in our founding documents. if someone tried to mess with our currency other than gold and silver. But they said, don't worry. Again, this is a time period. It was not the internet, not a lot of the exposure. Information traveled slowly. They said, don't worry, because you can take these certificates and go bring them back to the bank, and they'll give you your gold or silver back. So don't worry. So that's how we got duped into this Federal Reserve System. But let me show you some quotes here. Share my screen, and you'll kind of see a little bit clearer on some of what they've been saying here. This is Henry Ford. He said this: "It's well enough that people of the nation do not understand our banking and monetary system. For if they did, I believe there will be a revolution before tomorrow morning." A lot of people didn't know how money worked back then. This is Mayor Amstel Rothschild. "Let me issue and control a nation's money, and I do not care who writes their laws, because who writes their laws, which is the Federal Reserve, is more powerful than any law that we may create in our government, because they're controlling the money." The Rothschilds got a really history of manipulating money. But you can see what this Federal Reserve came to be in 1913. That's why they wanted to control it. And there's a lot of researchers and analysts that even speculate that's why they assassinated President Lincoln back in 1868, I believe is when it was. Because he was going to be the most powerful person in the world. And even the banks back then are trying to get this Federal Reserve System, which they came from Europe. But anyway, that's just speculation, but it's kind of interesting how they did take him out back then. Here's some other quotes here. This is President Woodrow Wilson. This is a fascinating quote by him. And let me just read it verbatim. Again, he's the president. He didn't realize what just happened under his watch. This is what he says: "I am a most unhappy man. I have unwittingly ruined my country." And this is back in 1913. Okay. But even then, he had enough discernment and awareness of what this Federal Reserve System is actually going to represent for our country. "I unwittingly ruined my country. A great industrial nation is controlled by its system of credit. Our system of credit is concentrated. The growth of the nation, therefore, and all of our activities are in the hands of a few men. We have come to be one of the worst ruled, one of the most completely controlled and dominated governments in the civilized world. No longer a government by free opinion, no longer a government by conviction and the vote of the majority, but a government by the opinion and duress of a small group of dominant men." Woodrow Wilson, after signing the Federal Reserve into existence, and that was, again, 1913. So after 1913, and let me just stop sharing the screen here for a second. After 1913, let me get off here and onto here. Okay. So after 1913, once it came into being, 1944 is when it became public, where the dollar was backed by gold, right? I mean, it was public locally here in the United States. Again, things traveled slowly back then. But this whole new world financial system came into being in 1944 in the Bretton Woods Agreement, which means the dollar was backed by gold, and our currency we validated all the other countries in the world because they pegged their currency to the US dollar, and the US dollar was good as gold. And so we gave relevance to other currencies around the world. That's why we're all been making transactions. Everything's worth money because they peg their currency to us. And so this whole kind of reset, if you will, happened in 1944 publicly. And so we're about ready to do another financial reset here shortly. And we talked about that yesterday. What all the politicians are talking about, it's coming. The dollar is the world's reserve currency, is going away. Conveniently, digital assets are coming in. Again, digital assets are the way of the financial future. The only question is it going to be centralized or decentralized finance. And the stories that we had this morning about Shiba Inu and Cardano, that 90 million this is going to be accepted at 90 million MasterCard merchants around the world. that's just the tip of the iceberg, and there's a war that's going on. And so that's why I'm super excited. We share a lot of that, obviously, in our live events every month at 200X Academy. There should be a link in the description to check out our live events. We go every single month where we take people from beginner to confidence in 3 days. So let me, in closing, I'm going to share some other things. But after 1944 in the Bretton Woods Agreement, fast forward when Nixon took us off the gold standard in 1971, that was a big move, is a world game changer. So what was going on before 1913? Money was gold and silver. 1913, when the Federal Reserve came to be, they said they give you paper certificates, which is fundamentally an IOU on real money, which is gold and silver. So 1944, Bretton Woods Agreement made it public. 1971, Nixon says, no, our dollar's not backed by gold anymore. So what's been happening since 1971, all these paper money that you and I, we work for every single day, it's nothing more than an IOU on real money. The problem is there is no more real money anymore. So all we have is a bunch of IOUs in the marketplace today for the last 51 years. So it's the world's biggest Ponzi scheme, but people are educated now because of the internet. They know exactly what the history of money is, what it is today. And the only reason why it's still accepted today, even though it's backed by nothing, it's worth its weight on its paper, is it's a confidence game. And so when bigger organizations like the World IMF, the World Bank, the World Economic Forum, and Klaus Schwab, we're going to see him here in a second, because they validate this Ponzi scheme, but that Ponzi scheme is going away. The US dollar as a world reserve currency is going away. And I'm going to share some crazy clips here. And again, I report, you decide. And that's why I'm super excited about crypto. And as a side note, I think it's very important just to reaffirm. In research, what they train us and they really drill us is you don't want to be a pessimist. You don't want to be Mr. Negative or Mrs. Negative Nancy on your research. You don't want to be positive. It's just, oh yeah, go. You just present the information and let the information tell its own story. And so, but you can see, I don't care if it's positive or negative. I report it, and if it slants one way or the other, fine. It is what it is. As a researcher, you got to just share the information. And so, but yeah, so when they took us off the gold standard in 1971, it's the world's biggest Ponzi scheme, and that game's coming into an end, and it's coming quickly. There's a global reset all the politicians are talking about, which is a part of this new world financial system. And let me share some. A quote, not a quote, it's a video here. And this is a game changer. The World Economic Forum on their own website, they even talk about the global reset. They're not hiding anymore, right? I mean, imagine the confidence they're having when they start, it's in your face now, okay? So let me share the video here and you'll see what I second. But they said by 2030, it's only 8 years away from now, you'll own nothing and be happy. Think about that. They're that confident. They don't want you owning any assets, and again, finances are huge here and it's coming fast. So we need to be one step ahead. But let me share this video for you. And first, just to share, this is the World Economics Forum's website. And you can see right there, the Great Reset. It's coming, okay? So this is the worldeconomicforum.org. You can see it right there. But let me share this video here. This is out of the World Economics Forum's own website. This is their own video, okay? And let's see what's their vision for us. Everything's good for the environment, good for the world, good for green energy. So they're telling us how we're going to feel by 2030. Notice the confidence they're moving in. I'm going to end.
This is the plan that
I'm going to end this with a Klaus Schwab. Again, this is one of the most powerful men in the world, and he said this in July 8th, 2020. This is in the middle of the pandemic. Okay, so I want you to kind of just picture in your mind's eye, why is he saying this in the middle of pandemic? It's like, why is he saying this, right? Again, these are the most powerful people on the planet that's got vision for the world, and you and I are not part of this inner circle of what they're planning for us, right? So notice what he says, and I'm going to unpack this because he made a stunning statement. It's one of these statements like, why in the heck are you saying this, right? So let's kind of see what he said.
We all know, but still pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society.
Now I'm going to stop it right there. Why is he talking about a global cyber attack in the middle of a pandemic that changed the world? What is he doing? Is he grooming us, right? Is he letting us know this is a plan that they have? Of course, they would never admit that, but this is not normal thinking. Why is he calling about a global cyber attack in the middle of that pandemic? You know, are they playing games? They know exactly what they're doing? Is this a conspiracy, or is this intelligent people connecting A and B and B to C, and they want to be one step ahead of what they're planning? So, but let me just finish the video here, and you'll see what else has to say. Again, this is in the middle of the pandemic. He's talking about a global cyber attack.
As a whole, the COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack. To use the COVID-19 crisis as a timely opportunity to reflect on the lessons the cybersecurity community can draw and improve our preparedness for a potential cyber pandemic.
All right, there you have it, out of their own mouth. Out of his own mouth. Is this a conspiracy? Is this who says that, by the way? I just can't get over that. So, but you can see where everything's changing rapidly, and you and I need to be one step ahead, get educated, position ourselves and our families. We want to preserve our wealth, but also have incredible opportunity to grow. This is where it's going to be the greatest financial reset. There's a famous quote that money never loses value; it just transfers to someone else. And so this is an incredible opportunity where and I challenge anybody out there, by the way, where in the world is there a better opportunity where the average person can make that has little capital investment can get extremely wealthy in a very short amount of time? Name one other potential opportunity that's better than crypto where you can confidently say that. And so, again, crypto is the future. It's an incredible opportunity. I encourage all you entrepreneurs, financial institutions, to start getting involved. And if you want to just find out a little bit more, again, we have a 3-day live event. We have breakout sessions. It's cool stuff where we take people from beginner to confidence within 3 days. And so some of you that are already investing in this 3-day live event, I do share some high-level techniques to get an unfair advantage in crypto, some James Bond stuff, and some things that you want to really, if you're going to do crypto, you need to do it right. You have high standards, and that's what we teach here at 200X Academy. But go on the registration link above or below. There should be a link somewhere where you can sign up for the event. It's coming up in less than 30 days. Thank you again. We'll be coming tomorrow as well, and I'll share tomorrow's update on the daily crypto show that we have here. So thanks again. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.